We've said from day one we didn't want to fill up the podcast with adverts, and we're not about to do that. However, podcasts do cost money to make, and thanks to our friends at Viking Covers, we're able to cover some of those. Their values are the same as ours, they're car enthusiasts, and they've got a real quality product we think you might be interested in. If you're looking for indoor or outdoor car covers for your vehicle, please go check them out at vikingcovers.co.uk. Now, over to the show.
Welcome to my dad's car. Enjoy!
Welcome to My Dad's Car, a podcast discussing our personal relationship with automotive nostalgia. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be about your dad's car. It can be your mum's, your grand's, your parents', guardians, or even a neighbour's. If it made an impression, let's talk about it.
Good day.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? All right?
Very well, thank you.
Sorry I'm a bit late.
I was about to say the same thing.
Welcome along, Steve.
Thank you.
Good to see you, John.
And you?
So, yes, for the benefit of the tape, we're joined by Steve Clyde from Gyeon, which is a cleaning company. Is that right? Cleaning products?
Yeah, so essentially it's a chemicals company that produces car care and detailing products. So ranging through from maintenance, ceramic coats and paint protection film.
Wonderful. And I think we were approached by someone who works for you, I believe,
Yes.
and they said, I think Steve would be really good for this if you're up for having a chat. And I was like, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And then since we've been exchanging a few messages, and it turns out you grew up in this neck of the woods and you kind of live 10 miles down the road.
Spooky how close we are to each other. So, yeah.
I was explaining to you, yeah, John and I met working in Bognor. He's in southeast London now, but yeah, we're kind of down here as well. So yeah, it's quite funny that we've been doing this, and then yeah, we end up bumping into people who kind of grew up next to.
Yeah, it's very spooky.
Is it Storrington you're based in, Steve? Is that right?
I am now, yes.
Yeah.
My hometown was Shoreham, so
Right, okay.
that's where I'm from.
Wonderful. Do you want to give us a little bit of a background on Gyeon? Did you start it, or are you kind of there?
No. So I mean, my career-wise, I've been fortunate enough to spend most of it in the automotive industry, which is, for me, is brilliant, being a petrol head. I had a detailing company myself for about 17 years.
Okay.
And I was actually a certified detailer for Gyeon and part of their network. And then, unfortunately, due to ill health, I needed to look at doing something else full-time because I had issues with my knee and being on my feet predominantly throughout the day. I was a bit concerned long term. So I'd done a couple of projects with Gyeon, got involved with Car Throttle, done a few videos with them and had a really good relationship with Gyeon UK. And I sort of approached them and said, look, I could do with at first thinking sort of part-time, would there be any opportunities for me to work for you? And then it kind of transpired that they were looking for someone to take over running the network of certified detailers in the UK.
Okay.
That was 3 years ago and best thing I ever did. And yeah, very much love doing what I do now. Obviously not on the tools anymore, but I'm still very much involved with the industry I love and get to travel and do training all over the UK really. So yeah, very happy.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, we'll jump into it. Actually, before we do that, where can people find you? That's the other thing they're going to ask, isn't it?
Yes. So if you want to sort of search on Gyeon, so it's Gyeon.co. That's the sort of global company, and through that you can find us as a distributor at Gyeon UK. So in terms of if you wanted to find a certified detailer in your network, there is a directory page on there, so you can just find whoever's nearest to you.
Yeah.
But that's where we are.
And do you sell to the general public, or are you through the trade? So
yeah, there's various different ways of acquiring the products, whether it's through one of our resellers, through Amazon, or through a certified detailer who is also a walk-in reseller as well. So there's plenty of access to our products. We're probably best known for the orange bottle, which is wet coat.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows how amazing it is in terms of you've got a wet car, you spray it on, rinse it off, and it instantly waxes your car for 3 to 6 months. It's that quick, and it's brilliant.
okay.
Yeah, some great products. I mean, I've been passionate about Gyeon when I started working with their products back in 2015, and they're very impressive.
Wonderful. So, Steve, what's your earliest car memory?
I think my earliest car memory is my dad's Peugeot 504 estate, which was, as a young lad, I must have only been about 4 or 5, was ginormous. Probably not that big nowadays, but it was huge. It was gold, and we used to get so much stuff in it. I remember our trips to Cornwall, family holidays. My auntie and uncle had a guest house down in Cornwall that we used to go to every Easter, and it was just fun times. I mean, my love of cars has definitely come from my dad. When we were around, as in my brothers and I wouldn't say had exciting cars, but it was always exciting to be with in a car.
Okay.
He knew how to pedal, my dad, and he just made driving so much fun.
Nice.
That's not to say that he didn't have cool cars, because I think we probably ruined that when we arrived, my brothers and I. Mid-20s, he had a Mk2 Jag. He's had a Mk10 Jag as well, and he loved his car.
Yeah.
I think obviously when children came along, he had to be a bit more sensible, but that's definitely where I've got my love of cars from, definitely from my dad.
So tell us a bit more about the Peugeot estate there. I seem to recall, actually, they were big cars, weren't they? They were sort of A6 size. Like they did the 4 Series Peugeots, like your 405s or 404s or whatever it was. And then, the 5s were just massive boats, weren't they?
I'd say it was it's a very vague memory, but I remember us going to Cornwall in it. I think even took in our cousins in the boot. I think we probably got easily 8 or 9 people in that car going to Cornwall once.
Good stuff.
And it was ginormous. And he went from that to another Peugeot, I think a slightly smaller one, 304.
Okay.
And then that went to probably the car I have clear memories of was a Chevette.
Okay.
Estate in yellow with a brown interior. I remember that quite well. Whenever he had a different car through work, the first thing we would do is like jump in, let's go and see what this thing's like. And as you probably know well, the roads around the South Downs, there's some good roads, and we'd be out there hammering around.
Was the Peugeot a company car for him, and what was his line of work? What did he do?
He worked in manufacturing and was a production manager. The sales manager always had the better car. He had the sporty Sirocco or the Capri. My dad had a relatively mundane car, but he was always a little bit envious of Peter, who had the nicer cars.
Assuming Peter had no kids if he's got a Scirocco.
Yeah, I don't think he did have kids, actually, to be honest.
Nice thick hair, probably. And,
he was very... and he was a good driver as well. I do recall my dad telling me about some trips out in his Capri where they did some quite tasty driving. I think Peter had a rally background, if my memory serves me correctly. So, it was always just fun times being out with Dad in a car.
So you mentioned siblings. How many brothers or sisters you got?
I've got 2 brothers. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
My middle brother Phil again was quite into cars, and he was quite a good driver. My oldest brother Andy could take them or leave them, but Phil and I were very much really into cars growing up. And I remember my brother having a 2.8 Capri when he was about 18, 19. And we were going to a family photography session in Hove, and I went with Phil in his car. My mum and dad were already there waiting outside this shop just off New Church Road, and Phil being Phil, he's come around this corner absolutely sideways all the way down the road, and I said, there's mum and dad there. So he's basically drifted it all the way past my parents, who were standing outside this shop. My mum was absolutely livid. My dad, you could just see the twinkle in his eyes, like, "Oh, son." But it was like I say, just back in those days, just fun times in cars.
Definitely. And you mentioned your mum as well. Was she a driver, or was it always your dad?
She did drive. She was not a confident driver. I think my earliest memory of my mum driving was having driving lessons with my dad, bless her, in a Morris Minor around Lancing Industrial Estate. You'll probably know where that is.
Oh, okay.
A white 4-door Morris Minor, us in the back, Sunday afternoon, and my dad trying to instruct my mum how to drive, which was terrifying to be in the back of.
She sounds like she'd be one of those that wouldn't go onto a big road.
No, she was definitely, as I say, not a confident driver. She had I think after the Morris Minor, her first car was a Mark 1, bright yellow Polo.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I remember my brothers and I just trying to encourage my mum to go out and drive, and she would only if she had to drive a car. My mum and dad were chalk and cheese when it comes to cars.
Yeah. Did you go for music in the cars? What were they listening to?
Absolutely. That's the other thing my dad installed in me was my love of music. That was a big thing with Dad. Definitely at home, always in the car. And my dad passed away a few years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And I've now got a playlist that I remember all the songs we used to listen to in his car, depending where we were going. And I still listen to it now on a regular basis. It's, I just put it on and there's all manner of things on there that there's no real sort of specific genre or anything. It's just a real mix of songs that just remind me of Dad.
What have we got on there? What will people kind of be able to?
A lot of UB40,
Okay.
Bob Marley, ZZ Top, Dire Straits. There's a real sort of an eclectic mix, but there were certain songs that I couldn't remember the name of, the track, and it was just trying to find them through iTunes. But yeah, I've pretty much got all of the songs that I remember listening to in Dad's car, and fond memories.
Nice.
Yeah, I think music is a big player, isn't it? Like John and I both lost our dads as well, and we've kind of spoken about music before. But yeah, sometimes I kind of just kick back and put like Dire Straits on the Spotify, whatever, and just sort of kick back and listen to that. And you think, actually, yeah, remember being in the car listening to that. He was into Tina Turner, actually. So yeah, sometimes it's just kind of a bit of that, which I wouldn't go out and buy a Tina Turner album, but it's just sort of something about that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it just gets you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So do you remember kind of kids at school with interesting cars or their parents having kind of interesting stuff?
Yeah, there was always this, I don't know, battle competition between other school kids about what their parents drove to school. My dad did have a Mark II Golf GTI back in the day.
Okay.
Which was nice, which led me to actually going and buying one myself as a bit of a nostalgia trip to remember Dad.
Did it live up to the dream?
Unfortunately, it didn't. For whatever reason, I never gelled with the car. I've since sold it. And it was lovely, and with my sort of background with detailing, got it to a point it looked amazing. But it was too old for what I was wanting to do with it. So I sold it on. I've now got an R26R, which is a lot of fun and very much what I like to do with cars, something a bit more club sport look.
Yeah.
But going back to, school days, there was definitely competition with what parents had and who had the best, whose dad had the best car. So, yeah, there was a lot of that definitely at school, a lot of rivalry.
What was the top trumps pick of the playground? What were people?
I think there was a 7 Series, 728i, that probably was, the car. The local farmer that was doing very well for himself, and he would bring his 2 boys to school in this 7 Series.
Nice.
Yeah, that was always a good look, that rocking up the 7 Series. So, yeah.
That's unheard of, isn't it? A farmer having a fast saloon car.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what he was farming, but he was definitely doing well for himself. Let's put it that way.
You'd struggle for a space outside the school, wouldn't you, with the 7 Series?
Yeah. I mean, it was, again, back in those days, you think, wow, that's a huge car. If you saw one today, it's probably about the size of the 3 Series.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely an impressive car to see at school.
How about kind of neighbours? Do you remember what they were driving?
Yeah, so I'm not one for classic cars, but there's probably 2 that I would love to own. One is an Austin Healey, and one is a TR6 Triumph.
Okay.
And there was our neighbours, if my memory serves me correctly, it was a youngish couple, bearing in mind I was about 10 or 11 at the time, opposite us that had a TR6. And I just remember this being fired up in their garage and coming out and just sitting there ticking over on the driveway. And I've always loved the profile of a TR6. Just, I think it's the shape, with the roof down, looks great.
Yeah.
But I can still hear it now just ticking over on the driveway. And it's like, oh my God, that just sounds amazing. And my bedroom sort of upstairs looked out directly across to their house. And I'd sit in my bunk bed looking out my window and just watching that car, because it was just, for me, that was perfection at that time. I just absolutely loved it. The sound of it, colour, how it looked.
What colour was it?
It was yellow. It was bright yellow.
Okay, wow.
Nice.
That's probably, I mean, my other neighbours, we did have a guy that moved, there was a couple that moved in 2 doors down from us who was a bit of a IT geek back, again, this is sort of late 80s, and he bought a sort of copper colour 911.
Okay.
And that was, you know, in our street, like supercar territory, considering what else was on people's driveways. And we got to go out on that a bit, which was nice.
Oh, cool. You went out in it. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very, very OCD about it, understandably. But that was, as neighbours' cars go, it was pretty special to see that on the driveway.
Yeah. And you mentioned a Healy as well. Who had the Healy?
No one had a Healy, but it was, as I say, just from a classic car point of view, probably more now I appreciate older cars, but growing up, I was always only ever interested in the new model.
Okay.
Classic cars didn't really register on my radar, but the 2 shapes that I've always sort of loved is the Austin Healey Mark III and the TR6. I just find those shapes gel with me.
Yeah.
But other classics, I'm not, as I say, other than if I was in a position that I could have one, I'd love to have a Mark II Jag because my dad had one. But that's probably the only other classic I would be interested in owning at some point.
So you mentioned your dad was a petrol head. What fired him up? Do you know what kind of got him into it? Or
no, I mean, he often spoke, not that he was around when I was young, but his dad was he was a professional driver, I think. Dare I say something to do with the royal family? I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Okay.
But it vaguely rings a bell. But I think where my dad's probably passion for cars comes from through that.
Yeah.
Nothing else from conversations with dad growing up, nothing else. You know, he would mention anyone that has inspired him in terms of wanting nice cars. He always wanted a Rolls Royce, my dad. Always.
Nice.
That was the one thing, you know, numbers come up, I want a Rolls Royce. So that was always his passion. He never got there, but yeah, it's one of those things, as they say.
I wonder if the old sort of company car culture back in the day was a bit of a driver for people getting into cars, really, because it was, like you were saying, the status thing of trying to get the top model, or because you had some genuinely sporty things, didn't you, available back then? And then obviously that would just lead to even more sportier things that aren't company cars in the future, I suppose. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, as I say, the cars that I recall, my dad had, there was 4, the 2 Peugeots, the Chevette, and the Mark II Golf. And then from that, he decided to go off and set up his own business. And then it was like he cranked it up a gear in terms of, right, I've now got some money behind me. I'm going to go and get something nice. So I remember going car shopping with Dad, and he went around various dealerships all around our neck of the woods back in the day and decided to go for this very nice Vauxhall Carlton that he got from a dealership in Horsham. And for me, that was like, you know, go from the Golf, as nice as that was, it's like a proper executive car, the Carlton, you know. So it was the Mark 1, but the facelifted one. I think it was about a B or C reg.
Okay, yeah.
And that was just lovely. Real drive as well. So that's the first experience I'd had with my dad in a real drive car. And that was quite fun. Him sort of getting the back end out on roundabouts. In particular, the one by Lancing Leisure Centre. Yeah, so that was nice. And then he went from that into, I think he had a Mitsubishi Galant, which at the time seemed very futuristic in terms of the interior on it. And that was the day that we knew Mum was getting a new car. He bought her a Mitsubishi Colt, but he didn't tell us he was getting a new car as well.
Oh, surprise.
So my brothers and I were at home and, you know, saw the headlights coming onto the drive. I thought, oh, Mum's home with a new car. And then I was like, those headlights don't look like a Carlton. Opened the front door, and then Dad sort of said, oh, I decided to get myself a car as well. So I thought that was quite cool, getting 2 new cars on one day.
Yeah.
But I have fond memories of my dad driving, and I try and focus on the fun days. Obviously, as he got older, it's kind of sad to see his skill level, precision sort of start to deteriorate. And then he got to a point, which I've always respected him for. He had a wobble out driving once, and he forgot where he was.
Okay.
Obviously, this was towards, you know, the end of his life. And he wasn't far from home. Fortunately, he had my mum with him. And he got the car home and he said, I'm never driving again. I've always respected that. As much as that was a inconvenience with not being able to get around, he didn't feel safe at the wheel of the car. So, we have lots of fun times, and I always think back to the days of him hooning around in cars, and just the latter days. It was a bit sad to see someone with such skill and finesse at the wheel of a car just struggling, if that makes sense.
Did your father go on to kind of have dementia or something along those lines? Or?
That was part of it. There was various things that were going against him.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about it if you don't wish to.
No, it's fine. We'd be here for a week if I told you exactly everything that went wrong. How my dad survived.
Play top trumps on that if you want with my dad.
How he survived as long as he did is a miracle. Heart attack, cancer, stroke, everything thrown at him. Yeah. So when he finally went, it was like, Christ, they finally actually got him, because, as I say, he diced with death so many times, which I can relate to, because I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 18.
Oh, Christ.
So that was hard for my mum and dad, obviously, to deal with. That was interesting times, but yeah.
I think that, the idea of, especially kind of for the petrol head, the idea of kind of surrendering your license, so to speak, something I don't really kind of want to think about. But yeah, hats off to him for kind of having that kind of, I don't know what the word would be, kind of that knowledge or that sort of foresight to go, I'm not what I was. Like,
yeah, I'm sure he knew it was coming, but I think it really scared him that though he wasn't far from home, he had no idea where he was or how to get home. And my mum thankfully directed him home.
Yeah.
There was no discussion. I've spoken to Mum about it since. No discussion between them. He just said, I'm not driving again.
By that time, I'm guessing you were kind of an adult. Like,
Yeah. So it was sort of towards the end of his life. But
it's scary that obviously your dad was very brave in doing that, but the amount of people that don't do that and just keep driving around, you'll see it on a weekly basis, won't you? People that shouldn't be at the wheel.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, logistically not knowing where they've got to, but like you're saying, precision-wise, just totally not at the races. It's just, I suppose there's the argument, isn't there, of the retests when you get to a certain age or that sort of thing, potentially. It makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's, I think nowadays with the roads being so much more busier than when they were learning to drive or spent a lot of their time driving. It's a very different world now from a motorist point of view.
Yeah.
And I think, it'll be a struggle for them, for sure.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, when you take into account people that have passed their test in the 50s or 60s as well, compared to a test now, theory alone is just totally different, isn't it? So.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So as your dad moved away, obviously you mentioned the Mitsubishi as well, and the Carlton, were they kind of personal choices of his rather than company cars? So he went for those. Yeah,
it was when he started his own business. It was definitely, I want a nicer car, a bigger car as well.
Are they V6s, the Gallants and the Carltons?
No, I think it was 2 litre. And funnily enough, I Googled it the other day I wanted to know what kind of horsepower it was running. And it was something quite embarrassing, really. It was like about 100 horsepower from a 2 litre. But I remember going out and thinking, oh my God, this car's really fast. But yeah, it's amazing when you think of what kind of normal horsepower in today. It's crazy, the difference. Obviously, cars were a lot lighter back then, but yeah, I was quite disappointed. I was expecting it to be a lot higher than 100 horsepower from a 2 litre. So
I think a lot of those old saloons used to generate a good noise that probably planted the seed of you thinking, oh, this is quick. But in reality, it's just shouting a lot and not really moving at great speed.
Yeah, definitely. The sound was part of the package for sure.
Yeah.
I think obviously also you mentioned that his dream car was the Rolls Royce. He was sort of harking at that, wasn't he, with sort of the size of a Carlton or the size of the 504 and I guess the Galant. So I guess you were saying that like if his numbers came up, he'd have bought it, but that's probably it. He probably wouldn't have got there just on his own, so to speak.
No, definitely not. And I mean, I was very fortunate enough when I had my detailing business, I got to drive some really special cars. And, I had a few very nice clients that would lend cars to me. And I'd take them down to see Dad and take him out for a drive. couple of cars I regret not taking him out in, but of course you always think you've got this time to do these things, and then unfortunately you don't. But yeah, as I say, it was always a Rolls Royce. He would always come back to that.
Yeah,
that was, I guess, in his day, that was the pinnacle of automotive engineering design, a Rolls Royce. And I get my OCD, my everything needs to be right kind of mindset from my dad.
Okay.
That was how he was. Everything needed to be on point. And if you're going to do it right and do it once. That was installed into me at a very early age. And I've carried that through, my working career as well. But yeah, as I say, I think if he could have, he definitely would have. He would have gone down the route of getting a Rolls Royce.
Did you take him out in one?
No, the two cars I regret taking him out in was a Rolls Royce, and one of my all-time favourite cars was a Ferrari 599.
Okay.
Which I had regular access to, which was nice. And I was only thinking about it about a year ago. I was like, I should have taken Dad out on that, because the V12, he would have loved that. But yeah, as I say, you always think about, I've got time to do this.
Yeah.
And then things work, everything gets in the way, and before you know it, they're no longer around.
Yeah, hindsight. Anything else we need to ask you, Steve? I think we've covered off quite a lot, but...
As I say, I remember we always used to go to work with my dad on a Saturday morning.
Okay.
He worked in a Horsham time when we were living in Shoreham, so we'd go up the Partridge Green Road, which was always nice. And I always kind of looked forward to that drive because, again, he knew the road well. We'd go up there a fair rate of knots. But it was just nice spending time with him at work. And just, it was good quality time. We'd do things in the factory and give us little jobs to do. But it was just that time in the car.
Yeah.
It was something I always looked forward to, coming towards the end of a week at school, going to work with Dad tomorrow. And that was always the highlight of my weekend. Ignore going out playing football or whatever. It was getting in the car with Dad and going to work and going off and doing bits and bobs or whatever.
Is that something all of your siblings would do, or was that just you and him?
It was mainly my middle brother, and so Phil and I were quite close in age. Andy, my older brother, there was a 5-year gap, so he had a part-time job and then went into full-time employment.
Yeah.
So majority of the time, Phil and I spending time with Dad, and that was always, as I say, good fun, going out with him in the cars.
Do you have kids of your own, Steve?
Yes, I've got a daughter, and what is very nice is she's absolutely crazy on cars, which is a real, it's just a joy for me. We go and do Goodwood events together, and
nice.
She'll send me screen grabs of like cool cars. What about one of these, Dad? Like, she'll send me pictures of an E30 BMW. It's like, quite fancy one of these. And it's like, oh, brilliant. So it's great that, she's really into cars and we get to do cool car stuff together.
That's nice. I was just sort of thinking, when you were saying about you looking forward to little trips with your dad, I was exactly the same. Any sort of trip in the car would be something to really enjoy. And it just sort of makes me think, do my kids have any interest in jumping in the car with me? And they probably don't, to be fair, just because the car isn't very interesting and we're just going to sit in traffic, I guess. So,
I know,
different times.
It is different times. As I say, my daughter and I go and do revival together at Goodwood.
Okay.
She's really into that now, and we'll have a different outfit for each day, but she loves all the old cars. She's quite into classics, which is lovely. So yeah, that's always really good fun. We do that together.
Is she driving herself yet, or is she not at that age?
Yeah, she's been driving for a while now. So she's got a little Mini Cooper,
right,
but she's wanting to change that now. So trying to steer her away from what I would see as an unreliable car. But when they've got their heart set on a particular car, it's very hard to advise them that that's probably not a good shout.
Especially if you've got to fund it as well.
Well, no, I mean, I'm very, very lucky that, when she passed her test and we were looking to get her first car, I said, right, well, obviously, Mum and I will help you out with this. And she went, absolutely not.
Oh, that's good.
She worked at a Saturday job, and then she saved up and she bought her first car, which I was very proud of. And she's always funded her own vehicles. One thing she's very good at, and she knows it annoys the crap out of me, that she will not clean her car, and she'll just leave it, and that will wind Dad up. Because seeing a dirty car on the driveway is like, brings me out of the rack.
It's bad for business.
So she will leave it and just think, that'll sort that. And sure enough, I will. So every so often, I'll give it the once over and to make sure it looks a bit shiny again. So
is it fair to say your path into detailing has probably rubbed off on her in terms of her getting into cars, do you think, seeing you around them? And
yeah, I think in particular, when I used to borrow some nice cars and pick her up from school or whatever, and yeah, she's definitely had an appreciation of cars. That's definitely accelerated through when I had my own business. Yeah, she's definitely a firm petrol head herself, which is lovely.
Nice.
Because kind of think probably, having just a daughter, that when she was a baby, that probably wasn't on the cards. But yeah, from a very early age, she's been really into cars, which is nice.
Cool.
Yeah, we both got daughters, haven't we, John? So I guess it's a similar thing. And yeah, my girls aren't car mad, but they do kind of appreciate it. Yeah, we've done good with members meeting. We do that kind of every year, and they sort of enjoy the whole thing. They like watching kind of the side shows and making some craft stuff, and they'll watch a little bit of car racing, but equally they just sort of enjoy the festivity of it. My eldest is 10, so yeah, who knows kind of where that leads in the future. But have you done any track stuff with the is it the Megane you've got?
Yeah, so back in the day, I mean, I used to work for a car company in Worthing, which you'll probably know of, Daewoo.
Oh yeah.
So I used to work in the test lab there when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And apparently I got the job on my facial expression as they took me into the test lab.
Oh, right.
Because it just lit up. As soon as they walked in, I was like, I've never seen anything like it. So started working in the test laboratory, which was amazing. And then through that got into racing karts.
Okay, cool.
And there was almost like a department slush fund where we could go and do social events. And 9 times out of 10, we'd go karting. And then there was a group of us that got quite good at it. And then we decided to buy a kart. And then we started racing karts.
Nice.
Again, then that group sort of trimmed down to 2 or 3 of us that were getting really serious about it. And we'd won a championship and gone sort of, I say semi-pro, where we were paid to drive, which was nice.
Yeah.
So I've always had a motorsport kind of, I love motorsports, so touring cars, Formula One. That's always been my passion. So yeah, sort of getting the Megane out on track was brilliant. My first track day with it was at Thruxton, so quite a fast circuit to take it out on. And it was just amazing. The corner speeds, how for a car with a stock engine, it's had no sort of modifications. The engine will hustle cars with much higher horsepower because of its handling through the corners. It's just, there's no fuss, and it's just an utter joy to drive.
So have you let your daughter have a go as well?
Nope. No, I'd happily let her drive it. I don't think she would feel... I don't know, maybe she'll surprise me, but I don't think she'd be confident enough to go out on track.
No.
Maybe it's something we would work up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd happily take her out on track, but I do a very good job of annoying my friends that I will get a car looking on point and then it needs to go and do the next project, which will be a 911. So that's what I'd like to get into next.
Cool. What era?
997.
Okay, yeah.
Something along those lines. And
what year is that, please?
Sort of a 2005.
Right.
Yeah, up to 12 or something like that, probably.
Yeah, so something like that. And that would be my almost like a forever car that I would then give to my daughter.
Yeah.
Growing up, my wall was covered with Ferraris. Every type of Ferrari was on my wall. Porsches were never on my radar. It was always Ferrari.
Oh, interesting.
And then through starting my own business and working on Porsches, my appreciation for them just went through the roof. The engineering, how things are put together. It's funny when you're detailing a car, you're looking in areas of a car that you're not meant to see.
Yeah.
And you can look at an Aston Martin and go, yeah, you can tell Ford have had something to do with that. And the same with Ferrari. You can tell Fiat have had something to do with it. But in particularly Bentleys and Porsches, they were just so well screwed together, in general, across the board.
Yeah.
And having got to drive a few Porsches now, they're just so nice to drive. Really, really nice. And our brand ambassador for Gyeon is actually restoring a 964 to a level that is beyond anything I've ever seen before, and I'm looking at singers and things like that, the level he is going to is ridiculous. Looking forward to seeing it when it's all done. But Porsches are definitely on my radar now.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you very much, Steve. It's been good to chat with you, and also hear a bit more about the industry as well. So
you're very welcome. Well, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool. There we go. Some nice cars in there, wasn't there? Obviously, big Peugeot, and I guess as he said later on, like his dad kind of pined after a Rolls Royce, so he did go for the sort of the executive saloon, didn't he? That seemed to be the flavour of the month.
Spacious saloon, yeah. Those big Peugeot estates were sort of one step from a hearse, weren't they, really, I always thought?
Massive.
Big things.
And I don't remember ever seeing loads of them around at the time.
No.
And occasionally you see one now and you're like, that's just huge.
Yeah. Sort of an American feel to it in a way, like the station wagon type.
Station wagon type thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like the Renault 21, obviously, which is a big sort of Renault version. Maybe, don't know, maybe there was more of a Renault presence where I grew up than there was a Peugeot one. But
yeah, the French must have just gone a bit wild on the dimensions for a bit. One extra bottle of red, one lunchtime, perhaps.
Yeah, I won't make that line longer. What harm will it do? So yeah, that was good. Some interesting stuff. Obviously, the neighbour with the TR6 and a yellow one as well. I don't know whether I've ever seen a yellow TR6.
Is the TR6 the sort of small wedge-shaped car?
No, that's the TR7. The TR6 is quite square.
Right. I thought they were generally yellow, those cars. Maybe it's the other one that I'm thinking of. I thought yellow or blue was quite common with those, like a sort of...
There's quite a few blues and reds. You get them in.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're sort of almost like, I want to say like a brick with a sort of windscreen on it. It's square. It's got sort of round lights. And before that, your TR5, 4, 3 is all sort of quite curvaceous. But yeah, the 6 was quite square.
Have you ever watched the TV show The Detectorists?
I think I saw a couple of them, but I couldn't quote you anything off it.
He's got a yellow TR something in that, which he's very fond of.
Yeah, the TR7 was like a wedge, like a doorstop.
Right. But at least in Steve's favour, both of the cars that he likes that are classics are sort of affordable-ish, aren't they, and achievable. Most people would say, like an E-Type or an Aston DB5, wouldn't they, which is right in the sky a lot of the time.
Yeah, Mk2 Jag's kind of, I guess, you could probably get into one for
10.
Yeah, teens, something along those lines. I can't remember what was the other one he said he wanted.
Austin Healey.
Yeah. And again, that's probably maybe a little bit more 20, 30, but it's a bit more realistic than... And if he's looking at 997, then actually, he could chop that in and buy one. If he didn't go down 997 route. So, it's what kind of fits, doesn't it? But enjoyable discussion, I think.
Yeah, it's nice.
A mixture of the old stuff and a bit more new. Nice that he's now able to continue that sort of balance, I guess, that he had with his dad with regards to cars. That's now kind of continued with his daughter, and they're able to go to Goodwood, etc. And do that. I remember kind of doing stuff with my dad. Like if I'll go and stay with him, for example, he'd just help out in his workshop, and it's quite nice just helping your parents out, like feeling like you're actually being of use to them. Like that, they might just go, "Oh, can you sweep that up?" And it doesn't matter whether it gets done, but actually you feel like you're helping them. You're making a difference. Yeah. So and hats off to his daughter for stumping up for her own car. Like,
definitely very refreshing in this day and age.
Yeah, hopefully our kids are listening.
Bookmark this episode.
So that was Steve from Gyeon UK. So look him up if you need some cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We'll wrap this up, John. Lovely to chat as always.
Thanks, mate.
We'll roll the credits.
Thank you for listening to My Dad's Car. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please support us. Buy us a coffee and subscribe. And tell all your friends.